If someone in your family or someone you know loves baking and is notoriously hard to buy a present for, this is a great little present that shows you put a little bit of time and effort into it. We're going to make cookies in a jar, which we're going to take out of the jar and make and then put back in the jar, if that makes any sense. So we're going to put all the dry ingredients in a jar and then I'll show you how to make them, and then we can put them back in the jar and give them as a present. There are a couple of steps to this recipe. The first one is making the present, and then I'm going to act like I've received the present and we'll make the cookies. So get a nice jar, a nice decorative jar, reasonable size so you can fit all the ingredients in. And then we're going to add in our ingredients. So this is a cup of oats, which we'll put in the bottom, like so. And then a cup of cranberries. Again, I'm going to do this a lot smarter than I did it just then. And use a spoon. And this will form some nice layers. And if you want to be really, really, really pretty, you can try and create a pattern with what you're doing, but it doesn't matter that much. Then I've got a cup of white chocolate chips, which I'll pop in. Push that down so we get a nice layer. Then I've got half a teaspoon of baking powder and half a teaspoon of bicarb soda, which I'm going to mix in with my flour. Now the bicarb soda is so that our biscuits are chewy. I want nice chewy biscuits. And then I'm going to pop my flour in. Again, just push that down so that we get a nice neat layer. And then 3/4 of a cup of white sugar. Brown sugar. And the amount of flour we had there was 3/4 of a cup as well. Push that down. And that gives us, I'm going to put a little pinch of salt in there as well. And that gives us our layers in our jar. So at this point, you can get a nice letter, the method if you want, print it out on some nice paper, scroll it up and put that in there, and then pop your lid on. And that can be the present that you give to the person in your life that loves baking and will bake for you, really. I'm going to give it to my wife and hopefully she'll bake the cookies for me. So we're going to pretend now that I've received it, and I'm going to show you what the steps you have to go through are to put the biscuits together. So we'll get rid of the mess that I've made. So all we need to do is we've got all our dry ingredients and we need some wet ingredients to go with it. I've got an egg, some vanilla paste, and over here I've got 175 grams of butter that I've melted down. So they're all our wet ingredients. So into a big bowl goes our dry ingredients, and that just tips out like that. So you can see how easy it is. We mix all of that together, and that's the dry ingredients of our biscuit. And then we're just going to add in our wet ingredients. So into our butter, I'm going to break my egg. My vanilla in there as well. It's done. Make sure your butter is melted, but it's cooled down before you put your egg in there. Gonna make a little well in our biscuit mix, and then pour in our wet ingredients. And then I'm just gonna bring that together and it will form our biscuit dough. So these are really, it's homemade packet biscuits, which is a bit of an oxymoron. Everything's mixed in, so now I can get a spoon. I just want big heap spoonfuls, which I can form into a bowl. Bring that together. Once you've got your ball, just pop that on your baking tray, push it down a little bit, and then keep going. Now this should make about 12 biscuits. You want about a little bit over golf ball size, and remember they will spread, so give some good spacing between each biscuit. I've placed 6 on here. I'm going to bake them in 2 batches because they will spread. If you've got 2 baking trays, you can set up 2 baking trays and you get the same result. 180 degrees in our oven, about 15 minutes, and they'll be ready to come out and we can make our next round.